The dusty letter trembled in Clara's weathered hands as she read the words that shattered her fragile hope. Return shipment requested. Bride deemed too old at 45. Refund issued. Alone in her cramped boarding house room in St. Louis, the former schoolteacher felt the sting of rejection pierce deeper than the Missouri winter wind rattling her window. She had answered the mail-order bride ad from a rancher in Montana with trembling optimism, her savings dwindling after years of caring for her ailing mother. Now, with the train ticket back to nowhere in her lap, Clara wondered if her life's purpose had slipped away forever. Miles away, on the sprawling plains of Montana, rancher Elias Grayson paced the creaky floorboards of his isolated cabin. At 50, with silver streaking his dark hair and calluses mapping his hands, he had placed the ad not out of desperation but loneliness, a quiet ache that no herd of cattle could fill. When the agency sent Clara's photograph and letter, her kind eyes and gentle words had stirred something in him. But the agency's return notice, citing her age, infuriated him. He hadn't asked for a girl in her 20s. He wanted a partner, someone with life etched into her soul. Grabbing his coat, Elias resolved to ride into town and confront the stagecoach office before Clara's train departed. Clara sat on the station bench, her suitcase beside her, when a shadow fell across her lap. She looked up to see a tall man with a weathered face and eyes that held a surprising warmth. "You're Clara, ain't you?" Elias asked, his voice rough but kind. She nodded, bracing for another rejection. Instead, he sat beside her, tipping his hat. "I don't care what that agency says. I wrote for a woman, not a child. If you're willing, I'd be honored if you'd still come be mine, not as a bride forced by contract, but as a friend who might stay." The words hung in the crisp air, unexpected and disarming, and Clara felt a flicker of something she hadn't known in years. Possibility. The journey to Elias's ranch was quiet at first, the clatter of the wagon wheels filling the space between them. Clara shared stories of her students, her laughter softening the edges of her grief, while Elias spoke of the land, his voice carrying a pride tempered by solitude. As they arrived, the modest ranch house came into view, surrounded by golden fields and a small herd of cattle. But what struck Clara was the sight of a tiny, weathered schoolhouse at the edge of the property, its windows boarded up. "Used to be a school," Elias muttered. "Closed when the last teacher left. Kids around here need learning, but I ain't got the time or know-how." Clara's heart leapt, an unexpected turn that aligned with her past. Days turned to weeks, and Clara settled into a rhythm. She cooked hearty meals, mended Elias's worn shirts, and began cleaning the schoolhouse, her hands rediscovering the chalk dust of her old life. Elias watched, quietly amazed, as she transformed the space. One evening, as they sat by the fire, he handed her a stack of letters, requests from neighboring families to reopen the school. "I can't pay much," he admitted, "but I'll help however I can." Clara's eyes filled with tears. This wasn't just a job offer, but a chance to reclaim her purpose. She agreed, her voice steady with resolve. The schoolhouse reopened with a handful of children, their bright faces a stark contrast to the peeling walls. Clara taught with a passion that surprised even herself, while Elias built desks from scrap wood and hauled water for the garden she planted. The community rallied, bringing supplies and stories, knitting a bond that transcended the initial mail-order arrangement. Yet a shadow loomed. Winter was coming, and the ranch's finances were strained. Elias confided one night that he might lose the land if he couldn't pay the bank. Clara, moved by his selflessness in supporting her school, hatched a plan. The next morning, Clara rode into town with a basket of her homemade preserves, selling them to the general store and spreading word of the school's needs. An unexpected turn came when a wealthy rancher, moved by her story, donated lumber and books. The community pitched in, hosting a fundraiser dance in the schoolhouse, its flickering lanterns casting a warm glow over laughing faces. Elias watched Clara lead the children in a song, her voice lifting above the music, and realized she had become the heart of this place. And his. The emotional climax arrived on a frigid December night. The bank had given Elias a final deadline, and he sat by the fire, head in his hands, when Clara entered with a leather pouch. "The dance raised enough," she said, her voice trembling with pride. "And I sold my mother's locket to cover the rest. You've given me a home, Elias, let me give you this." He stared at her, tears welling, and pulled her into a fierce hug. "You're more than I ever dreamed," he whispered. The bank loan was paid, the ranch saved, and the school thrived, a testament to their shared generosity. As spring painted the plains green, Clara and Elias stood before the schoolhouse, now bustling with children. No formal vows were spoken, but their hands clasped, a silent promise of partnership. The community gathered, celebrating not just the school but the unlikely bond that had blossomed from rejection into love. Clara's journey, once marked by loss, had become a beacon of hope, proving that kindness could transform even the loneliest hearts. In the end, their story spread beyond Montana, a tale of humanity's power to heal and uplift. For readers across the USA, it was a reminder that age, circumstance, or past pain need not define one's future. Only the courage to offer and accept love can. With every child's laugh echoing from the schoolhouse, Clara and Elias knew they had built something eternal, a legacy of compassion that would inspire for generations.